Hey, how's it going? So I just finished a video, Don't Touch Your Eyes, and I said I wanted to do more at the end, but I didn't want to like tire a viewer out. I think everyone has a threshold, but with the inspiration to just come on here and read the cards and talk about them, uh, came like this all this stuff came out. Like sometimes the pen just takes over. But it started with just like a phrase. So one of the phrases that came out is a sort of a repeating theme for me lately, and it's regarding up leveling and grounding, or the inability to ground. And it's like a paradox for me, or it has been, until I figured out or learned. Well, I didn't figure it out. Like somebody said it, and then I learned it. But I learned that when you are up leveling, it's hard to ground. And so it's not that it's like, oh, me, I'm doing something wrong, which of course, well, not of course, you don't know what I'm thinking, but I will tell you that I was petrified, like, I can't do it anymore, but it makes me feel so much better. Um, and so now that I know, like, what the deal is, like, I just continue as I had been doing and just keep grounding. And um, it helped a lot to know that, like, and I should know by now, like, stuff changes and things feel differently, and you don't have to freak out. But I guess I still do have to a little bit, so this is hard to do. Okay, I'm trying to not be looking down and looking at my notes here, but so I just wanted to say that if anyone was having issues grounding, it might well be due to the fact that you are up leveling. Because I guess we all are, whether we're conscious. Well, not I guess. I know it's the case that we all are, including my little cat that's over here in the sink, up leveling, and the birds. Like every being is up leveling, not just on our planet. It's in the universe, and it's a whole thing. So the next little note that I had written was I guess I was still thinking on that because I had jotted down 24-hour compartments, which I think the Lost in Space. Oh, now I'm getting caught now. I think the Lost in Space card, excuse me, says something about not let everything overwhelm you, including the future, which you don't even know yet. So don't sit there and dream up anxiety for yourself, basically. And it reminds me a whole lot of the AA slogan: "Have your 24-hour compartment, one day at a time." Nothing wrong with that. uh, but I guess I wrote prescriptions to bring me down to earth. And I don't see anything else except that I did write here and now, which is something I do when I start to feel like everything just gets a little too crazy. Occasionally, like I get overstimulated and it's really uncomfortable, and if I don't get a handle on it like pretty quickly, it can like get away from me, and it's just like a wildfire. It's not good if it gets rolling. So as always, like, I want to ground. I want it to work. I want, I don't want to add like yet another thing to be anxious about, even though I'm like, I don't know what. I've talked about it before. I don't have a lot going on, so I don't know what I'm so anxious and stressed out about. And I'm not really, but I still feel moved to do these things, and they do make me feel better, and I'm all about feeling better and feeling good and happy as much as possible. So another thing that just kind of like slid out of my brain was I see a lot of shows talking about Karens and what they get up to. And my favorite source for the Karen watching is the Indisputable Show, hosted by Dr. Rashad Ritchie on the TYT, I guess, network of shows online and .com. But anyway, yeah, Indisputable. He covers a lot of Karenicity, he calls it. Dr. Ritchie does. And I saw today also, like, I've been seeing the Karen stuff for months, and not just this guy, but everyone's picking up on it because it's like you can't look away, and you can't, like, when I say you, I mean me. Like, I can't compute how these people are acting, but I have been hearing about it through my spiritual channels, and I don't mean like the actual physical channel, but like the YouTube channels and stuff that I watch. Spirit has been talking through physical channels and various means to make us aware that things were going to get like they are now, kind of crazy, and like, well, this has never happened before, and everything's so extreme and inflamed. I mean, it's almost, well, I mean, it is funny, it's making me laugh, but only because I know that, like, it's not the end of the world. Like, your life may end or your business may end, but, your soul lives forever, so we're just here doing this to have fun, basically, and it's hard not to get so caught up in feeling the emotion of it and the horror and the immensity of whatever it is. Like, we get pretty whipped up. It's like, hold on. Let's remember who we are and what we're doing here. If we've at all cottoned on to there's something else happening, let's sort of like try to shift into that sort of feeling of it rather than the crazy chaotic alternative, because one feels better, the not crazy one. So now I got off the track, but I know I was talking about Karens. And then so there's this other thing that's been happening, and I don't know how long this has been going on, but I just started hearing about it like a week or two ago, and it's the shark species, like, knocking people out of little boats and just like harassing them, like, land dwellers, get out of the ocean or get into the ocean, we want to eat you. And yeah, they're like knocking over kayakers' boats and things, and small little, I don't know all the names of them, little boat with a smokestack, not a tugboat, but a trawler maybe. But there's like orcas, which are, they call them whales, but I think they're sharks too. Like, I think they're a shark species. And today I saw hammerhead sharks totally somewhere where the water was light green and you could see right through it, and you could see, I don't know how far up that drone was, but man, them hammerheads compared to the little boat, and this wasn't a single passenger boat, but it was still very small, like I'm gonna say it was like human propelled, so small. But it had like more than one person on it, or more than two. And it just, from above, like, you could see the boat and all the little people, and then, through this beautiful water, you can see these big old sharks, and, one of them's as long as the whole boat, and not including the hammers and the fin business. Oh my gosh, just, but some of us come here to go that way. Like, yeah, that's that's an adventure I want to take on in my next life. I want to get eaten by sharks. But it's not just all about I, me, you. It's also about like the people that you're connected to that become aware of your situation, whose business perhaps is ruined because the sharks keep attacking your boats. I mean, everything's not just all about you, and that is one of those things we're here to learn. Sorry, I'm just hearing that in my head like a little lecture speech. No offense. I know you're just hoping. Thank you. So I had the thought that the Karens and the sharks were not dissimilar. They were like reversed polarities and driven off, like the sharks reversed polarities with the Karens kind of, and but the Karens have been driven off magnetic cores, and that's why they're like so lashing out, where it's like, dude, it's a terrible mixed sandwich. Why are you losing your mind? Because it wasn't perfect. You come in here expecting perfection, you have low standards. But seriously, like, we're getting kooky about. Wait, I've already said that way too many times. Uh, we're just getting like we're going overboard with the offense, and like everything does not require a retaliation. Just on the low end of things, it doesn't even require that. Like, you can say like, okay, I'm not happy with my selection, could you please get me another one, and like calmly tell them why, and maybe they'll be willing to give you another one for the good of the company, instead of you, the Karen slash shark, going off on people, going totally animal and breaking stuff and screaming and yelling. And who raises anybody to behave like that? I just feel like there's got to be so many heaven grandmas just shaking their heads going, oh honey, no, you did not learn that in my house. I mean, and I wonder, that's why I said they're off like magnetic course, like the whales that beach themselves, and the birds that are messed up because the magnetic coil band around the earth. Hi, words escaping my brain like it's a balloon with a pinhole in my brain. But yeah, that. Like they're now, what is the stupid thing called? It's like affecting all kinds of stuff. But like it beaches whales, which orcas or sharks, killer whales, those types of insects, beings, individuals. But I feel like the sharks have justification, because if they're mad at us, well, they know where the trash comes from. I mean, how many of those sharks are just kind of cruising next to a boat? Oh, what's up here? Maybe they'll drop some food over the side and get hit on the head with a Corona bottle or something like that. Or, bite into another fish and find a 6-pack ring. I don't know. That's probably extreme, but they do seem to be making an angry, coordinated effort to like get people to stop coming in the water, or to come in the water and be their lunch. Like, I'm not sure what the goal is, but you know what I mean? Like, do you think like they might have a chip on their fin about people? I mean, oh my God. Here, one last moan and groan. I saw a bay recently in a country with pristine looking water, but this particular bay, this marina, was so greasy and rainbow slick and gross. As I was thinking it, before I even got to read the part about where it eventually said it's rainbow slick and gross and it's killing the marine life there, which, whatever lives in the water, and then also whatever lives off what lives in the water, like the birds and whoever's crazy enough to fish in Rainbow Slick. But if I was a sea life, I'd be pissed. And I'm sure they know where it's coming from. You know how the squids pick stuff and can do puzzles? Like, all animals are way smarter than we give them credit for. Even, like, the kitten. A kitten knew to grab the phone and took instructions to punch 911 or whatever. He brought the man the phone so he could do 911, and he had been on this floor for days, and the kitten was just there keeping him warm because the guy was old. Old people falling on the floor and getting left alone for days, not good. And maybe elderly is what I should be saying. But, I mean, the kitten was only a couple of months old, and they didn't go to, like, EMT school or anything, or any school. They understand you. My cat in the sink's getting, like, annoyed ears. I'm sorry, honey. You want me to stop talking about other cats? You're a smart boy, too. You know that already. Sorry. Anyway, yeah. I don't know. Like, I don't know now. I wish I could have written down what the true association between the sharks and the Karens was. But anyway, it's my note. I wrote it down. And then I have also been thinking about ID politics and all of the hate that's being generated behind because of it, and anything that you can associate with it. Like, you can stick anything under the woke umbrella or the CRT umbrella or the trans umbrella, like whatever it is. And I'm just like, to me it's silly static that it's spoon-fed. And it gets back to that thing I was saying in the previous video about how people are just rejecting stuff out of hand because either someone's telling them or everyone they know is telling them to, like, don't take it seriously, don't believe it, don't think it's any good. Like, even if it's your kid, or, I mean, I don't have any, but my heart kind of aches when I see these people saying such horrible stuff about, well, right now it's like the LGBTQ plus community, but it's also like races and women, and it's just, again, silly, spoon-fed static to the people that listen to the stuff that's all we decide to listen to, because that's what it's a weird thing. But I was thinking how it's like all of it that we keep relitigating in civil, why are all my words leaving me? Civil rights. Like, why do we have to do each new thing people get offended about? We always end up with the same conclusion. They can go to the places. We will figure out how to accommodate them so that everybody can deal with it, and eventually, like, the invented problem is gone because it was never real in the first place. And I feel that way about races and all of the other stuff I just mentioned, and I feel like it's silly because it's like hating brown. Brown is everywhere, and it doesn't care if you hate it, and it's gonna always be there regardless of you. If it does know or care, we do not have the capacity to detect it. So having any kind of feelings about brown is kind of a waste of time. I hope that my meaning got across there. So I'm not going to talk about it anymore. And then, of course, I go on in my thought stream that I'm sharing with you, whether you like it or not. Of course, if you don't like it, you've already left. Excuse me. But yeah, the next trail I wended down. Wow, that freaked me out. I was like, come on. You know, there's always something, like some chore to attend to at home of your own. You know, be it literally the garden in the yard or the one we cultivate in our heads, where there's always something to give attention to. We may deprioritize stuff in favor of blank, you know, literally something else we'd rather be doing. The trick for me is to tackle that in this hypothetical, let's call it a cavity, like in your jaw. So the trick is to tackle that cavity in there festering with a willingness, or I have a crazy piece of paper I wrote my notes on. It's what the cards were copied onto. Sorry, not the cards, the guidebook for the Shaman's Dream Oracle. Have I talked about that earlier before? Yes, I did. Come on, where was I? Oh, so anyway, we can go deal with the cavity festering in there with a willingness, or we can allow ourselves to drift away in the current of, nutshell, other people's stuff. Stirring pots for effect, or taking on causes that, had we not gotten caught up in, when they became more, stirring pots for effect, or taking on causes that we had gotten caught up in. Oh, I left some stuff out here. I think what I wanted to say was taking on causes that, had we not gotten caught in them, they would not have become more actual trouble than at first they seemed worth. I hope that makes some sense. I can't even go back, and I certainly can't easily rewind what I just said. I wish that I could, but at this time I can't. I can only look when the whole thing is done. But anyway, like, you know, instead of like dealing with some small problem you have at home, you allow yourself to be enticed and attracted to something else, because you would rather be doing that than anything like the thing you got at home. And then, next thing you know, it has become way more trouble than you thought you were in for, and you're in trouble, and, you know, you went into that situation with the same kind of willingness you could have gone into the easy situation with, but you opted for the not easy one, and it became more than you were expecting, and you maybe had to do some jail time, and you have incurred some serious legal fees, and meanwhile, you're off gallivanting in lockup, possibly. Your home life is going to hell, including our theoretical cavity, which turned into an abscess in your absence. So, yeah, sometimes in our hypothetical, or it becomes clear that surrendering to indulgence can be far different from our expectation. And when we come out the other side, there's still that unattended cavity that's become abscessed, a clear symptom of neglect, the opposite of self-care. So what is the thing that you have right there at home, sitting there like a thud in the solar plexus, the gut and the seat of our intuition? Not the problem neglected, nor the symptom, but the knowledge of what we did or didn't do to address the lump, the thud. I'm just going to say that didn't come out as smoothly as I would have preferred. And I look to the future and hope that I'll have like some sort of program or some kind of help with a teleprompter situation so I can have my hands and my arms free and not be trying to, where is it, here, there, here, I gotta put it close, far back, like, no, it has to be better. Anyway, those words, as they were, take them or leave them, that is what I was moved to tell people today. So that is all for now. Thank you and good night.